This morning? Well, my name is Gaurav Shekhar, and I'm the program director for the Graduate Business Analytics program at UT Dallas. I'm very glad that you all could join us to know about the program. Some of you, I can recognize the names of people who are already admitted. And we look forward to seeing you on campus. But if you're somebody who's joining us for a session like this for the first time, welcome. The agenda is very simple. We spend the first 20, 25 minutes on the information that we want to provide you, and then right after that, we jump into questions. The best way to ask questions is that use the chat feature and put your questions there. We will make sure that we go through all the questions. The session is getting recorded, so this will be put on our YouTube channel, and at the same time, a link will also be sent to you. So with that, let me just get started with the very basic question. Why business analytics? There are too many programs in the world. There are too many degrees out there. There are too many universities out there. But why business analytics? Why business analytics at UT Dallas? And to really answer that question well, I'll have to go back a few decades. Okay, so you were here for analytics, but we'll do a little history tour. If you think about the 70s, now whether you were born in the 70s or not, but if you think about the 70s, one of the biggest and greatest revolutions that human beings were witnessing was the tech revolution. Computers have been there for some time. Machines, big machines have been there for some time, but they got into our homes for the first time. They became part of our lives extensively in the 70s. The age of personal computing began in the 70s. And when personal computing happened, a lot of small and medium enterprises started adopting the use of computers. Now, computers have applications. And if I have to ask you what is the one sole purpose of any computer application, there's just one answer to that, and that is to manage data. It has always been about data management. And when you talk about data, the question comes that what is the language that data speaks? So the 70s was spent in building those systems, building applications, starting the data management process, bringing in things like databases where data can be stored in a more efficient and effective way. And the next 10, 15, 20 years was spent in that. However, 2 decades later, now we are kind of at a mature stage where we know how to provision data, and we still are evolving, of course. I'm not saying that we have ended that whole tour, but to some extent we were mature in the 90s, and the question was, what do we do with all this data that's out there? And then the best way to take care of that data is to see what were your hits, what were your misses, what are there any patterns that you need to recognize? If you want to go about your business, do you see some trends? Can you forecast? The one thing that any organization, if you were a business owner, if you were leading an organization, an entity, or even for your personal life, one thing that human beings need is the ability to predict the future. If I can predict what is going to happen tomorrow, I'm going to prepare accordingly. And by that preparation, my chances of success will be enhanced. The same thing goes on with the analytics as well, with any business as well. Businesses are using analytics to extend their winning streak. They're using analytics to think about, okay, how can we very accurately predict trends, patterns, whatever it is. Nobody wants to repeat mistakes. Mistakes are made, they're recorded, we learn from it, we want to move forward. And that's where this whole thing about data analytics or data, understanding the language of data came in. So yes, going back to our history chapter, 90s is when we started recognizing the need. And some of the top firms, the leaders, the front runners, they were using analytics to some shape and form, which led to a rapid adoption and rapid recognition of the need for analytics. And that's where anytime you have a need in the industry, people bring in trainers, people bring in folks that can teach it so that their employees can do well. But this need was growing at a pace that no trainer could have really done a job to make sure that everybody understands what analytics is. And whenever a problem that big happens, there's only one entity that can solve it, the academia. And that's where the industry turned to the academia that, hey, this is what is needed. You might think that, and of course, analytics or related things have been done for several years, decades. But really, the first program actually came in the year 2007. And the next 5, 10 years was when most of the universities started adding an analytics program. And that's where in 2014, UT Dallas also uh, recognized that need and started the business analytics program at the graduate level. We are the largest in the country right now, the largest in-person graduate analytics program in the country. And the next 10 minutes, I will tell you why we are the largest and what helps us to be the largest program in the country and why it is important for us to stay that way. But getting back to the need for this degree, data is everywhere. You are not going to work in a job that doesn't touch data. Data is everywhere, and there are people who are needed who can make decisions using data. No more hunches, no more guesswork. Use solid numbers to make it work. Now, whether it is the tech sector, the financial sector, real estate, healthcare, you name it, it needs data. When it needs data, it needs analytics. Now, the bad thing here is, or the not so good thing here is, there are not enough people out there. Not enough people who understand analytics the way analytics is. Please be mindful of one thing. A lot of us have misconceptions. And when I say us, I mean individuals and corporations have misconceptions about what exactly analytics is. Sometimes we get skilled in one sector of it, one subsection of analytics, and we feel that we are very mature in terms of analytics. That's not the case. One classic example is when organizations bring in data visualization tools. They call themselves an intensely analytics-driven practice. Unless your tool is helping you with that, it is just a data presentation tool. So for you who are thinking of this degree program, you're at the right time because you are going to get into something at the very early stage of the curve. Despite the need, despite how hot it is in the market, we still don't have enough people out in the industry. And that's where your opportunity is, that you will become a part of that small, focused, specialized group that knows analytics, a skill, a talent that every corporation requires. What are our guiding themes? We are very flexible. You take classes in the morning, you take them in the afternoon, you take it in the evening. You do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You decide what you want to do. You create your schedules because there are classes, there are activities, there are student talks, there are networking events, there are career-related events, there are, you want to have your own leisure events. We want you to plan your life, but we want to make sure that you have the options to use that flexibility so that you maximize your experience here at UT Dallas. At the same time, engagement is very important for us. Engagement in the sense that, you do a lot of things in your class, but there are so many things that you have to do outside of the class as well. That honestly, if you had to fill 24 hours, we have enough things for you to fill your 24 hours. But we feel that that engagement, whether it is inside the class or outside the class, really augments your experience and the way you grow as a student. And finally, we are very focused on outcomes. Anything we do, whether it's an event, whether it is our regular surveys, whether it is our student evaluations, exit surveys, we look at everything because we want to make sure we are addressing the need. We're addressing the need that is coming up in front of us. Your experience is important for us. So what does the MSBA degree entail? There are 10 different tracks. Again, you don't declare a track, you just take courses from these tracks. It's a 36 credit program. It's a STEM designated program. 18 credits are core classes, 18 are electives, and then you can pick up from any of the 10 tracks. Whatever courses you want to do, there are your electives. The Flex program offers all the 10 tracks: accounting, cybersecurity, data engineering, data science, decision and operation analytics, financial, healthcare, marketing, social media, enterprise systems, SAP related. I mean, you need it, we have it. That's the way it goes. So again, coming back to why us, as I said, we're the largest in the country. Students who graduate from this program earn approximately $100,000, and this is the 0 to 2 years of work experience that students have. So we have students who come with, on an average, about 3 to 4 years of experience. But let's say we look at the ones who have 0 to 2. we'll see that they're hitting about $100,000. And then with every year of experience that you had before coming into the program, just add $10,000. That's what we have seen as an average. We have partnerships with dozens of companies. And when I say partnership, it's not something, oh, we just know each other on the email and, well, we'll see each other once a year and be done. These are people who walk our hallways on a very regular basis. They speak in our classes. There are people who are judging competitions. They have hiring needs, they come to us. They go nowhere. They need to work on projects, they come to us. Their companies sometimes need a new direction, they come to us. So they are invested into UT Dallas because UT Dallas provides a lot of value. And how do they provide our value the most is through people like you who go and work with them. There's a high return on investment here. Now, UT Dallas in the state of Texas is ranked #1 in terms of return on investment. But when we talk about the MSBA program, it's right at the top of that list of programs. You know, to give you an example, if you take an education loan, your institution will give you 7 to 20 years to pay back. Our students generally pay back in about 3 years because they're making that kind of money that helps them do that. And it's not that those 3 years they're hand to mouth in terms of their expenses or whatever it is. They live comfortably, they support their families very well, and they're able to pay off also very well. So that is there. Almost 600 internships are pursued every year. That number is going to go up this year significantly. The average pay is about $30, which amounts to about $60,000 a year. Now, that's as an intern. And generally, the ratio between pay of an intern and a full-timer is about 1:2. So you earn 30 as an intern, you earn 60 as a full-timer. So that is in line with what the market trends are. The MSBA program has 3 flavors. As I said, Flex is the one that has all the 10 tracks. Most of the classes are face-to-face. It's self-paced and it's state-funded, which means as you take more credits, the per credit hour rate goes down. In fact, there's a tuition cap at 12 credits. If you take more than 12 credits in a semester, you don't pay tuition for anything you take beyond 12 credits. There are 2 other smaller programs that we have, Cohort and Online. Cohort is kind of similar to Flex, but it offers only 2 tracks, which is data science and accounting analytics. Again, most of the classes are face-to-face, a few online. It's also self-paced. Now, when I say self-paced, students can finish the MSBA program in a year's time if they want to. If you're an international student, you'll need at least a year. If you're a domestic student, you can even do it in 9 months. And the max time for any degree at UT Dallas at a graduate level is 6 years. Now, nobody takes 6 years to finish this. Most of the students will finish this in 1.5 to 2 years. If you're a working professional, maybe 2.5 years. So that is possible. And then we have the online program, which is 100% online. It's focused on data science, data engineering, but all the courses are online. Now, the degree that you get, irrespective of which program you are in, says MS in Business Analytics. We don't write tracks and all because you don't declare a track. You don't have to declare a track. You can just take courses. Scholarships are available for the program. GRE and GMAT waivers are available for the program. And we'll talk about this in a second. So let's talk about the application requirements. The GRE and GMAT is required, but the waivers are also available, which means that you can just submit an application and request a waiver. It takes about 10 days for us to tell you whether we granted you a waiver or not. You just email jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu after you submit the application, and then they will process your request. Now, what we do is we look at your undergraduate transcript and try to make a decision that if this student had to sit in a GRE exam, will they get the minimum score that will qualify them? Which may beg a question, what is the minimum score? There is no minimum score. Okay, but we still want to make sure that you are somebody who is academically sound and can sit in a class, can pursue a program. Okay. Sometimes we often feel that work experience and academic abilities can be compared. Well, to some extent they can be, but you could be a great practitioner, but yet you might struggle in classes because that structure doesn't suit you. And that happens. So that's the thing that we evaluate when we give you those waivers. If you have a low GPA, then I would say strongly recommend that you don't get the waiver, write that score. Again, it doesn't offset everything, but it just gives us more things to chew on in terms of evaluating your application. Applications are evaluated holistically. We look at everything. No one section is going to tank your application. No one section is going to make it the best application. We can reject, let's say, a GRE score of a 330 because we don't feel that this person is a fit, and we can yet accept somebody with a 302 just because it's a great profile and they have done so many things that really will add a lot of value. So there is no one thing that can help you get into the program. We'll need your transcripts. Unofficial ones will do, which means you just scan them, send it to us. Once you're admitted, you'll be required to send attested copies. Your resume, 3 letters of recommendation, out of which one should be from a working professional. Now, whether they have worked with you or not is immaterial. They should be a working professional. And then a personal objective statement. 1 page, double spaced is all we need. We are often asked, what do we write there? Or how should this statement be? So we want to understand that, do you know why you're getting into this program? You're applying for this. So if you tell us why you're applying for this and how does it factor in your future, that's all we need. Application fee waivers are not available unless you're an alum or somebody who is a current student. Now, once you come here, there are certificate programs that you can pursue with us. And guess what? When you apply for those programs, there is a fee. But because you're a current student, you will never have to pay that fee. Or let's say once you graduate from UT Dallas and a couple of years later, you want to do another degree, come back, you apply, you don't pay any fee. It's just the first time when you're getting into a program, that's when we require you to pay the fee. We are a state institution, so that's why we cannot waive it. So there is no application fee waiver. Scholarships for fall 23 are still available. May 1st is its deadline. By May 1st, all the flex students who are incoming students who are applicants must submit their scholarship application, which is separate. We'll put the link in the chat shortly. Must submit that application along with either a GRE or official GMAT score. Both the official scores should have reached UT Dallas by May 1st. My recommendation is don't wait too long. Again, as we get closer to the deadline, and these scholarships are given out on rolling basis. So there is a huge possibility that it will get very competitive towards the end because there are fewer scholarships left and there are more people. But do apply. See, there is one way definitely by which you cannot get a scholarship, and that's by not applying. So go for it. TA-ships are not available for incoming students, but they are available from your second semester. So while you're in your first semester, you can apply for a second semester TA-ship. We need your UTD GPA. We need a 3.4 at least. And the courses that we are going to assign you to as a TA, you should have taken them. So that's the requirement. All right, just a quick sneak peek into our summer internships. About 300 were pursued with about 260 employers. Most of them, 97% were full-time. The average salary was about $28 and the highest was about $71 per hour. Some of our top employers that showed up: Amazon, EXL, Clairvoyant, Spring ML, USAA, Copart. And again, when you saw 260 employers for about 300 students, there are boatloads of employers that have one student each. And our students go to all 50 states. So that's something. Some of the titles, now most of our students are either data engineering interns or data analytics, data analysts, BI, data science interns, but we do have software developers as well. We do have business analysts as well. Again, internships are dependent on the kind of courses you take. So even as an analytics student, you can be in software development because we do have courses that help you in learning how to do programming. All right, don't believe us, believe LinkedIn. Believe LinkedIn because you need to go there and look out for this hashtag UTDMSBA. Look for the content. These are unmoderated articles, first-hand experiences of students who are doing things at UTD, but they're mostly talking about their internship experiences and they're talking about what they're doing there. If you have a dream company in mind and you want to think about what does it take to be there, well, you got an article there. There's a high possibility that your dream company is a place where an MSBA student already has gone and done this. Lots of organizations at UTD, more than 450 of them, and we've got about 70 in the School of Management. But these are some of them that are predominantly led by MSBA students. So SAP users group, Salesforce, project management, women in technology, Toastmasters, cybersecurity, Envision, which is for data visualization, marketing analytics club, big data club, accounting analytics, you name it, it's there. The best part about these organizations are they're student run, they're student led. They all have faculty advisors, but of course, most 99.9% work is done by the students, which gives them first-hand experience of managing, running entities, or becoming part of one. Now, who doesn't want to extend the value of the money that they pay? And we have these bonus certificate programs. These are like micro degrees that we have carved out of our, our, our programs. So let's say the applied machine learning certificate. Okay. If you take 4 courses, which are part of that applied machine learning certificate, which is stats, P with R, and the NLP course, machine learning course, or the deep learning course, you pick 4 of them. You do that, you get credit towards the program, you get credit towards the certificate, and you get another diploma from UT Dallas. Each of these certificates is at least $20,000 based on your residency, anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000. And you get that for free. You get credit for both programs. You don't pay the tuition twice. You sit in those classes once and you get credit to multiple programs. So why not do that to maximize on the money that you're spending? But yes, here are our contact details. A lot of you might already be in touch with us. Our direct email addresses, our phone numbers. We're more than happy to schedule appointments with you if you need to talk on a one-on-one basis. But before we get into questions, I just want to quickly show you the catalog page just to talk about the breadth of courses that we have. So we talked about 18 credits as core classes. These are our core classes. And again, they are created in a way that if somebody had to go out of this program, what are the minimum skills that they need to be a very effective analytics practitioner? See, there are 3 questions any company will ask you. What happened? What will happen? And what do you recommend? What happened? Advanced statistics for data science covers that. What will happen? Predictive analytics covers that. What do you recommend? Prescriptive covers that. Does this make economic sense? Applied econometrics is there. How do you manage data? Database Foundation talks about that. And how do we model our data? So we have the business analytics with R, with SAS, and we have a third one on modeling. So you learn about data modeling there. But then all these courses, there are 80 plus courses that you can take, and you can take it from the same track, you can take it from multiple tracks, but 6 courses you need as electives, and you've got about 80 choices. The reason why we are the largest program is because we have so many courses one can take. And because we are so big, that's why we can offer all these classes very well. Most of the other universities generally have very small classes and they have a set list of courses that they can offer. That's not the case with us. Business analytics is an extremely interdisciplinary program because you need things from different places, and we offer that through our curriculum. Just wanted to mention that, but I hope to see your questions in the chat. So I'm going to jump into the chat and see if I can answer a few questions right away. All right, what do we have here? Oh, lots of good questions already there. So let me get to the very beginning. All right, first question. So this is from Hema. Fees is increased for UTD. I need to update my I-20 or not? Well, again, think about it this way. The I-20 amount is, yes, directly correlation related to the fees. When you say the fees is increased, by the way, our fees generally is increased by 1.5 to 2% on an annual basis. But for you, there is a set amount that ISSO has listed. If you have a scholarship, it's about $37,000. If it is without a scholarship, it's about $52,000. That's what you have to show. Now, again, will you be spending all $52,000 in the first year? Not really. A lot of it boils down to what are the credits you take. Okay. Where do you live? So your living expenses can be anywhere between $500 to $1,000. I mean, it's a lifestyle thing. You have more needs, you have more expenses, that goes up. but we generally see a range of 500 to 1,000. Your health insurance is about $1,400 for the whole semester, for the long semesters, and about $550 for the summer semester if you enroll. And then, depending on how many credits you take, what is your residency, are you a TA, are you a scholarship recipient, your total fees can go anywhere between $40,000 to $65,000. So again, I answered a few more questions, tangential questions from what you asked. But as far as the fee, the amount is concerned, once you have your I-20, you have your I-20. It's as simple as that. All right. So I'm skipping some of the questions which were repeated. And again, don't worry about putting your questions again and again. If it is put once, we will answer it. This is Balakrishna. I've applied for MS Business Analytics. I had 12 years of experience in different formats. All right, so experience is good, but please do apply. Send your application in. We'll have to look at your transcript. We'll have to look at your undergraduate degree, and then we can make a decision as to, whether we can offer you a waiver or not. But the minimum thing is put that application in, and we'll be able to evaluate. Now, again, experience is a great thing, that can factor in. We can look at what you have been doing to come to a conclusion whether the GRE or GMAT waiver should be given or not. One of the other things, which is a related question, is, the reason why we look so deeply into your academic ability is because it's a very quantitative program. And for that matter, any program at UT Dallas or any university that you go to, if a university is giving you an admission and setting you up for failure, if we somehow feel that if we put you in the program and you will not survive, we are not doing you justice. So we want to make sure that we are truthful with our approach. When we give you an admit, at that point of time, we know that yes, if we put you in the program, you're not going to fail. And that's the whole reasoning behind looking so deeply into your academic ability. But as I said before, there's no way, unfortunately, there's no way to equate a work experience, compare it exactly with how your academic ability is, but somewhere the work experience also gives us some idea about you. Uh, Let me put it this way. Let's say that, you do a degree, and then over a period of time, things change with you. Your abilities to comprehend things get better. Maybe when you were doing your degree, you were struggling, but then over a period of time, those things have changed. And that's why things like a GRE, a GMAT, your work experience, your letter of recommendations. Sometimes your letter of recommendations, where the person is talking about your abilities, gives us a good insight. Because when they say, well, this person is working on ABC type of project, that helps us understand that, okay, if somebody is delivering such projects, what is the academic capacity of this person to do well in a program? The reason why we look at it that way is because we are a very applied program. We do a lot of projects. We do stuff where application is required. So it's not just pure theory that you'll be learning. And that helps us. So again, as I said, it's a holistic review of every possibility. And just submit your application and we'll be able to do that. Thank you for turning your camera on. Good to see faces sometimes on the call. Yes. All right, Abhinav. I have a question with respect to official transcripts. Can my university email attested copies to admission at UT Dallas? Abhinav, I love questions where the question is asked and it is answered as well. You're right. You can get your undergraduate institution to, and this is the one that issues you the degree or the transcript. If you're affiliated to a university and the university issues that, then the university will have to send it. But if they can send it from their official email addresses, just attest the document. Don't send original. We don't need originals. Remember, anything you send to UT Dallas will be UT Dallas's. So don't ever send originals. Attested copies, whether you send it electronically through services like TrueCopy or Parchment, and there's a list of them. You can see it on our, mm-hmm, our, uh, admissions website, or you mail them in sealed envelopes where, you know, the person is talking about your abilities, gives us a good insight. Because when they say, well, this person is working on ABC type of project, that helps us understand that, okay, if somebody is delivering such projects, what is the academic capacity of this person to do well in a program? The reason why we look so deeply into your academic ability is because it's a very quantitative program. We do a lot of projects. We do stuff where application is required. So it's not just pure theory that you'll be learning. And that's why things like a GRE, a GMAT, your work experience, your letter of recommendation, attested copies are put in envelopes and sealed and stamped on the seals, that is acceptable. Or you just email them to admission@UT Dallas, that also can be accepted. So that is doable. Uh, Moving on, we took that question of Balakrishna for GRE waiver. So and anybody who's seeking a waiver, just simply send an email to, once you apply, it's a one-line email saying, I applied, here is my application number. Please provide me or evaluate me for a GRE waiver or just GMAT waiver, and that's it. And they will look into it. When does the registration start for fall 23 in Galaxy? It shows April 6th. Yes, so Sai, we are going to start registration very soon. Your appointment dates are when they will start. You may have attended the advising orientation already, so some of those holds will be moved out. You will definitely see a documents hold or a TV test hold. Again, those holds may still show up on your account, but they will be moved to a future date so that when your registration starts in April, you can start registering. Now, we did a registrations webinar for incoming students, which is now on the YouTube channel of the Naveen Jindal School of Management. Please look at that recording, okay, because we talked about courses, what you need to do in the first semester. So that's a very informative webinar. But yes, your enrollment date, what it shows is when it will start, and you can enroll yourself. Letter of recommendation can be uploaded at the time of application, and the link will be sent to professors. Well, when you list them in the portal, your application, you are putting their name and their email addresses. They get a link, and then they can use that link to upload the letters. In case there is any problems with those links and they're not being able to upload it, just have those sent to me. I'm a scholarship holder. What is the fees as per the new fees update? Well, there are too many questions about fees, so why don't I take a moment and just go to the fees portion here. And I'm going to UT Dallas, the website, the Bursar's office website, where they have the tuition rates. Okay, so I'm looking at variable, and this is for 22-23. Again, any updates that happen, they happen around June is when they will issue updates. But again, as I said, it's 1 to 2%. That's the increase. But this is the website for you. If you want to see how much it will cost you to attend UT Dallas, as I said, based on the credits. So let's say you're taking 9 credits and you're a domestic student, this is what you're paying tuition. This is the base tuition you're paying. And then if you're an international student, this is what you're paying. However, if you're a scholarship holder, you pay resident rates. The letter would have said that you pay resident rates for 2 semesters. Please, any scholarship holder, you must accept the scholarship. That is what you need to do. So do not miss out on that. That's the base tuition. Now, on top of it, for every credit hour that you take in the School of Management, there's a school fee of $100. So on top of this, add another $900. Then that is for when you're taking 9 credits. Okay. Then if you're an international student, your health insurance would be about $1,370, $80, about $1,400 for the fall and spring semester, and then $550 for summer. So that also is there. If you're a domestic student, you may already have insurance, but if you don't have your insurance and you want to take UT Dallas, you can still take it. There will be some miscellaneous fees of $150, $200 for international students. In case you end up taking online courses, that will be about another $80 per credit. So all those fees, again, you don't have to memorize all of that, is listed here. Supplemental fees, or there's a section here which says fees and other charge, where it talks about health insurance fee. Let's see this. That's what it tells you. And then other fees, again, new students, what are their fees? International students, what are their fees? So I would say all this supplemental fee and all, apart from the $100 per credit and insurance, is within $200-300, to be honest. If you want to get an illustration, like what the estimate is, you simply go to tuition estimates and you can create one for yourself. So let's say you're a graduate student, non-resident, They've not updated it for fall, but it will come very soon. Let's say spring. Variable is the plan that you're going for, and you're in the School of Management and you're taking 9 credits. What is your fee? It's this, and then you can print it out. Oops, I think the print button still is not working. We'll have it fixed, but what it does is it just creates a document that you can share with your bank if you need some kind of an estimate for them. Okay. Sharon, when I looked, I saw that the internship was mandatory. How can we do an internship if we already have a full-time position? Great question, Sharon. We don't want you to resign from your job and do another internship. If you are working and taking classes with us, we can always go a special project route where we will ask you to work with your manager, come up with a project that uses the skills that you have earned in the program, and then you can get credit for it. A lot of times people who do such a thing, their special projects are mostly something which is like a proof of concept or something that they wanted to do around analytics, and it could be an exploratory project, but it is for a specific time period. It has certain deliverables that are discussed between you and your manager, and we just give you credit for it. And if students who don't get an internship, they're doing this full time, we do have an alternate class where we bring in companies to do projects with you. The goal is we want you to use the skills that you've earned in the program in some way so that you can, before you get out of the program, you graduate, you have a way to test them out somewhere, whether it's an internship or it's a project-based class. That helps. Can you please share the contact details? That's right beneath it. Okay, we'll move on to K. Have an enrollment hold. Admissions department. I mailed them. Please push the hold so that I can register. In a month, they said if admitted, the official documents will be required before enrollment. Now, again, any enrollment related holds, if you have not sent your official documents, you can always request admissions to push it by a few months so that you have time to get those documents. But folks, especially for international students, and even for domestic students also, but it is better for you to quickly get your documents. Don't wait, because once the program starts, you might not have the ability to go very freely and ask your undergrad institution for your transcripts and documents. Have them sent out, because okay, we will still help you move your holds to a future date. But after the first semester, when you're ready for your second semester and you've not submitted your documents, they're not going to push those holds out. We need to know that you have completed your degree. See, the admissions are given based on faith that you have completed your undergrad degree. And if there's no proof for UT Dallas, then you can jeopardize your stay here in some way. So please let us have those documents as soon as possible. But start with admissions. If they don't, send me an email and we'll see what can be done. All right, Sumita. Sumita has multiple questions, which is good. Is GMAT GRE test waiver considered for those who have more than 8 years of experience? See, GRE GMAT waiver can be considered without any experience also. There's no correlation between experience and waivers. The thing is about academic ability. We can use your work experience to kind of get a hint about your abilities, but there is no given that if you have too much of experience, like 10 plus years, you will definitely get it. And if you have no experience, then we are going to reject it. Every candidate is looked at on a case-to-case basis. Currently, I'm in Texas. H4, shall I proceed my application as international or domestic applicant? Now, with H4, if you have stayed on an H4 with your spouse in Texas for more than a year, both of you should have stayed for at least a year, you are a Texas resident. So you can go as you have Texas residency, you will still, and you can just mention your visa as H4. So they will still consider you kind of international, but somebody who's international but still has Texas residency. Is there in-state? Yes, that's what. If you're resident, 1 year on your H4 in Texas makes you a Texas resident. Honestly, on the day of classes, the start of classes is when they will evaluate your Texas residency. So let's say you came in last, just hypothetically thinking, May of 2022 is when you moved to Texas. You're still not a resident, but if you're going for fall 23, by August, And August 21st is when classes begin. By August, you will be a Texas resident. So that will help. If any emergency situation occurs, then can I skip my class of 4 to 6 months and continue the course again? Now, again, being technically being considered domestic, you don't have the obligation to be enrolled in the program. Unlike an F1 student who has to maintain enrollment to stay in status, and H4 doesn't have that. So you can take a semester break, and that is there for even domestic students. You can take a semester break, just need to let advising know that you're taking a break. But it cannot be like in the middle of the semester you decided I want to take a break. Well, that will not work out because you've already enrolled for classes. So plan it out ahead of time. If you feel that there is a time that you need to take a break, you'll have to just not enroll for that whole semester. Will there be scholarships available without GRE GMAT? Not as an incoming student, but as a continuing student. Once you're here at UT Dallas, TA-ships, continuing scholarships don't require GRE GMAT. We don't look at it. Varun, I'm Varun, and I'm a prospective for summer. Number one, we got an invite for a virtual orientation on May 18th. The orientation is going to be virtual, or so again, it's a virtual orientation, so it will be online. Summer session is only 11 weeks, different from 16. So do you suggest taking 12 credits in this 11 week? So again, for international students, 6 credits is what is required in summer if summer is your first semester. I would not say don't take 12 credits. It's not going to help you at all because 12 is very tough for summer. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's going to be challenging. There's a huge number of layoffs in the US, and I've been told it's getting difficult to secure an internship. From your experience, you think the industry will recover? So a couple things. Now, since you're starting right now, there are a few things. The industry cannot stay this way. It is not, it is something that happens every 3 or 4 years. Market adjustments, recessions happen because, there are corrections that need to happen. While companies are laying off, they're hiring as well. So there is a lot of hiring is happening. What is happening is in the media, a lot of things that are getting reported are, of course, yes, there are big layoffs, so that catches everybody's attention. But there are hiring as well that's happening. People are getting, we in fact, on a weekly basis, are approving anywhere between 10 to 15 internships, 20 internships. So people are getting hired. Okay. I can understand that sitting far away, when you look at this situation, what you look at what is getting reported. A lot of people who have got new jobs, we always see them happen. So don't worry. And by the time, again, Q2 is starting for this year, there's a high possibility that new budgets are getting released, which will hire people. One of the things that we heard was a lot of it has to do with the fact that there was massive restructuring that was being done in organizations. And that's why people were being laid off. But folks who had skills, transferable skills, they were not laid off, even if their departments were closed. A lot of them were shifted to another unit and they continued work. For you, you're coming here in summer. By the time you graduate, by the time even summer ends, there's a high possibility that you will start seeing those signs of healing. More and more jobs will be there. And whenever you're ready for your internship, if you're starting in summer 23, you'll be eligible for an internship only in summer 24 as an international student. You need 2 long semesters. Things will be much better. In fact, we just recently had somebody who got an offer from one of the big fours for summer of 24, more than a month in advance. So don't worry about it. Stay positive. This is not something that has happened for the first time. The American economy is very strong, and there are a lot of jobs, especially for people who have cutting edge skills like our analytics students. Now, with that, there's no guarantee that in a great market, people will get jobs. That also happens. See, it's a mix of your ability to crack these interviews, apply very well, network with people, show your skills in the right way, and be able to brand yourself. That results into jobs. Companies hire all the time. There is no slowdown. There is no period when they don't do that. If then they must be hiring 20 people in a week, they're hiring those 20 people in 2 or 3 weeks now. And that's just a temporary thing. So don't worry, things are positive. Okay. Wanted to know how much is required time on average for a scholarship. Now, again, the way the scholarship works is our committee meets every week and they look at the profiles and then they have a few criteria. If you make it, you get the scholarship. If you don't make it, they don't reject you immediately. They put you back in the pool. And then next time when they come back, the criteria is lowered a little bit and they look at, okay, whether you qualify or not this time. It all depends on the pool. They'll do this all the way until maybe the first or the second week of May. May 1st is the deadline, so somewhere around that time they will send you final decisions. Last year it was a little bit before May 1st, a few days, because they had exhausted all the scholarships and they gave out decisions. But around May 1st is when they will let you know whether final decisions, whether you got it or not. Okay. Reza, so I may not start my first semester as a full-time due to change status process. However, I can take 7 credits required for scholarship. It's my scholarship. Again, as a continuing student, you have to finish 12 credits by the end of spring to be eligible for a fall scholarship. So if you're thinking about fall 24 scholarships, you have all the time until spring of 24 to complete those 12 credits. What will be my tuition for fall 23? So I just talked about tuition, how you can look at it. So for 7 credits, what I see is, and I'm just going with the non-resident rate, just your scholarship. Sorry, not scholarship. Your tuition without any scholarship is about $12,300. That's your tuition. On top of it, your health insurance is another $1,400, and then living expenses. I would always go for a bigger number because you want to plan out in a way that you're not scrambling for money. Another $1,000 a month, $500 to $1,000 a month. Can I apply for this scholarship or TA for the 3rd or the 4th semester, even if I had scholarship before? Now, if you had scholarship before, that has no bearing on whether you can be a TA in the future. We look at when we are hiring TAs and we try to not hire somebody who has a scholarship in that semester. If you had it previously, not a problem. We look at that particular semester and we try to not double down on it. The reason is very simple, because if we double down, then we are taking away somebody's benefit. However, there is no hard and fast rule that says that we cannot hire someone who is a TA and is also a scholarship recipient in the same semester. Remember, a TA-ship is not an academic award, it's a job. If you're the only one who can do that job for that particular spot that we have, there's nobody better than you and you have a scholarship, then we're bound to hire you. Or we try to avoid as much as we can, because we get a solid pool of students, so that's not a problem all the time. What date is the first payment deadline, and if I want to start in fall 23? So again, this should be close to the start of classes. If you go on your Easy Pay portal, they'll put the date there. When is your payment deadline? Because you're registering early, it will be the early deadline, which I think is somewhere in July. Let me quickly double check that, but that's what your deadline is going to be. Now, the bursar might add extension. They will add that extension as a positive hold on your account. All holds are not negative. Some are positive holds. They're just like FII. Here is what is happening. So for you, the deadline, don't have the payment thing yet, but yes, should be somewhere late in July. That's how it's always been. Okay. Which track is more popular in terms of number of students? All of them are STEM. So tracks are not STEM. The degree is STEM. That's how the STEM designation happens. And our students take a lot of courses from, I would say, data science and data engineering are our top tracks. But then we have decision and operation analytics. We have social media, healthcare analytics. Those are another close 3rd and 4th. If I choose track X, can I transfer some of my electives, for example, 6 credit hours because of my first master's degree? Yes, you can always send a request for credit transfer. If there is comparable courses that we have in our place, we can always look into transferring a few of them. The max we can transfer is 9 credits. Okay. Moving on, Jashita. When are the courses available in the portal for selection? Well, the course book is out. You can see the schedule in coursebook.utdallas.edu. We'll put the link in the chat, but you can see all the courses that are out there. In fact, I would say recommend go back and check out our webinar that we just conducted on Wednesday to talk about our fall registration, fall and summer registration. Is technology background required for MSBA? Not required. We get people who come from commerce backgrounds, banking, finance, traders, people who have had no prior either a degree or work experience with IT. Now, of course, everybody uses computers, so you have that literacy. It's not really required. In fact, some of my very good students are people who come from economics background or somebody who, oil and natural gas, that kind of backgrounds, non-traditional real estate. They're able to connect back to what they were doing previously to what they're learning here in the coursework. Shreyans, I've applied for fall 23. I've sent my official scores from India 10 days back. However, there hasn't been an update. What's the average time? Well, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. So there are a few things. One, the delivery, once it is delivered, it's not evaluated immediately. Whatever you send, it takes a few weeks for us to really look at it, make sure it's the right degree, right transcript, whatever documents you're sending. And then once that determination is made, they will approve and they will mark it as completed on your to-do. I've sent an email for GRE GMAT waiver, but the application to-do list status says GRE is required. Well, once it is the waiver is granted, that's when they will change the requirement to done. Else, if they don't do that, they'll send you an email and they'll tell you, we couldn't grant you a waiver, you have to take the GMAT or GRE. When will be a cohort? Well, you can reach out to the cohort program, Rohan. If you are in the cohort, if you're interested in that, that's where you need to reach out. msboan@utdallas.edu. Prathamesh, as an incoming student, what practices would you recommend for securing internships, especially in the current economic situation? Number one thing, don't be too hassled by the fact that you must apply to 500 companies in the very first week. It's a bad strategy. It's an extremely bad strategy, which unfortunately a significant number of students end up doing. First of all, there is no internship without skills. Do you have the skills is the question. Are you confident enough with the techniques that are required to get an internship? An internship is not about just putting some good things on your resume and that's it. Have you networked? Have you connected with people? Do you know what the right ways of getting interviewing is? What are the techniques through which you can reach out to people? Now, as far as skills are concerned, it's a perpetual process. But let's say you start by just applying to 200 places. Even if you get a job interview, that is really not going to work out very well because what are you going to portray? So I think preparedness is the first thing that is required. If to your question, I believe that preparedness is what anybody should spend their time on. And that preparedness is a lot of things. First of all, get acclimatized, get embedded into the American culture here. There are a lot of things that might be very odd, not because they're wrong. It's just if there are cultural differences and they start spilling it out in interviews, you need to get the lay of the land before you get into something like, okay, let's apply. Networking, to be honest, you don't need any application to really get a job. If you have networked very well, that's all you need. Have somebody who will ask you for your resume, put it on their HR's desk and ask them to hire you. But are we spending enough amount of time? I cannot stress on the importance of networking enough. 100% of the people who have taken our advice and networked the right way, 100% of them have got jobs in a very less amount of time. Else, forget the economic situation. This economic situation is temporary. It's going to get better in the next few months. It's not too much of a time. The market is going to swell again. That's how it always happens. But even in a good market, you will feel yourself very stressed just by employing the wrong techniques. The other thing is get good mentors. You ask for what are some of the good things, get good mentors. Don't take advice from any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Get good mentors who can give you the right advice. We often talk to people who themselves don't have any clue, but what they've done is they've heard it from somewhere else and they'll just pass it on to you, and now you start believing it. Always question where some information came from, because that's an important way to know, or what the point of views. Somebody may have a point of view. Unfortunately, a lot of times there are things that are individual experiences that people share, but we think of it as standard procedures. If there are people who are struggling with 800 applications, there are also people who have applied to less than 20 companies and got 4 offers. It's all about the technique. Uh, do we have a list of things that work? Well, we do. Will they work 100% of the time? Maybe not, but they will still get you to a point where your chances of success is more. So that's what I would say. When you come here, the first thing should be, how do I meet more people? How do I let them know I'm a student here? Get your business cards printed. Go around, go to networking events, do your classes, engage in organizations, know people, understand what it is. And you will see that your journey to get an internship will be so smooth, and you'll feel very confident about yourself that this is what works. I hope it was a very long response, but I feel that we sometimes need to understand what are really the real things that need our priorities, as opposed to, well, let's do everything that comes our way. So I'm thankful that you asked that question. Okay. The next one. So Carol, the UTD application system accepted only 2. Is it correct, acceptable? Well, that's okay. If they didn't ask for a third one, there might be a recent change, but that's okay. If they have not asked for it, you will see that requirement is done or is marked completed. So you should be okay. In case the admission teams require something else, they'll reach out to you. Is it possible to get an admit if I apply to the MSBA Flex program? Absolutely, you can. Even after May 1st, if you apply, the only thing that'll happen is you'll have to pay $75 late fee, but we can still evaluate you. Is the Dean's Excellence New Student Cohort Scholarship and the TA? Now, the cohort is different. Please don't confuse that with TA. That's a different program. That's different stuff. So if you are in the cohort program, I would strongly recommend you reach out to your program and talk about it. The TA ships that I'm talking about are on the flex side. This is what is different from cohort. Cohort also has their own TAs, but in the flex side, when we hire TAs, you get in-state residency, your health insurance is paid, you get a stipend of about $1,000 a month, and you pay in-state rates. Is it possible to study MSBA with the full rate? Well, again, even if you get scholarships or tuition benefits through a TA ship, it will all be 50% maximum of your tuition that you will get benefits. How many credits are mandatory to take every semester? If you're an international student, 9 credits. If you're a domestic student, 1 course is enough. When it comes to recommendation letters, should all 3 come from professional? You can take it from a professor as well. At least 1 should be from a working professional. And professors are working, but they're not considered as industry professionals. What's the next cycle of flex scholarships? Well, again, as I said, every week or 10 days they meet. There's no particular day when they will send it out, but they do send out results on a rolling basis. All right, we have 4 minutes over time, so I'll just make sure that we do cover all the questions that are there in the chat. Possibly, so we got one. Oh, we got a comment from Carol. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to just put a heart on it. That way, as we know that that's our last question that we're going to cover. I'll cover anything before that. Okay. I have a 300 in GRE. I'm planning to rewrite my GRE. What should be a recommendation? Start the application. Yes, I would say don't wait. Send your application in. If you get a better score later and we still need it for consideration, well, we'll take the better of the 2 scores. But don't stop your application. As I said, there is no minimum score. There is no score where you say, oh, got a 300, so I'll not get an admit, but I have a 334, I should get an admit. A 334 can get a rejection. It depends on how you are as a candidate. I have admits from both core and flex. How do I make sure that I get the flex I-20 only once I submit the financial docs? Well, if you have two admissions, what you can do is reach out to admissions and tell them, admissions at UT Dallas, tell them to withdraw the application that you don't want to pursue. And then when that happens, your I-20 will be issued for the flex. By the way, because there's the same program, the sub plans are different, but it's technically the same umbrella program. The I-20s are same. So it's not like that if anybody is moving between the programs, they need new I-20s issued. Only if you're coming from a non-MSBA program into MSBA, that's the time you would need a new I-20. Ronit, I've couriered my official transcript in a sealed envelope in February, but still the Galaxy portal says blah, 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 reflected. Okay, please send an email to admission@utdallas.edu, CC me, and we'll see what's going on. Can I submit the official transcript myself when I come personally? Yeah, you can do that. Just make sure they are attested copies, sealed envelopes, stamps on seals. Now, be wary of the fact that there's always a chance, right? There's nothing which is 100% sure. If that document is rejected, you will have to make sure that you get the right transcripts or whatever it is from the right place. That's why I often tell people, if you have the ability to send out your transcripts, do that. Don't wait. Because at least before you come to UTD, yes, it will cost you to send things, not a problem, but you would have met the requirement, it'll be off your list. And in case there is any issues where they need you to resubmit it, well, you're still in your home country to do that. But people do use the Dropbox facility, so just a word of caution, nothing else. I've deferred the admission to fall 23 from summer. Will the fee structure change in case of deferral? Well, again, that there's not much of a difference between tuition rates if you look at it. I would say go look at the table and determine yourself how many credits you're going to take and how is that going to change your. I mean, I just told somebody that okay, let me do a 9 credit thing. So for 9 credits without scholarship and all, it was 15,526, the tuition. Let's say if I have to look at summer, there's no change. It stays the same for 9 credits. Will we get this recording? Absolutely, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel as well. Will the supplemental fee included? Will the supplemental fee be included in the tuition fee, or do we have to pay separate? So when the bursar's office sends you a statement, it'll be all the fees together, including your anything that you owe UTD will be sent to you in one shot. And by the way, you can pay at once, or you can get on a payment plan and split those payments into multiple payments. Scholarships will be given out latest by May 1st, or should I plan my visa interview after that date? Or I can, you know what, visa interviews, it seems, are difficult to get. The availability, get your interview done as soon as you can. Don't worry about the fact that whether you get a scholarship or not, get that interview. I'm noticing that I'm not receiving all the emails regarding the sessions. I've checked my official email address. Nikita, if you send me an email, what I'll do is I'll ask my web services team, our CRM expert, to just look into why you're not getting them. But folks, once you're admitted, please switch to the UTD email because that's where we'll send you all the communication. How do I find the enrollment section where I need to register for classes? Now for that, exactly, the advising orientation was done on Tuesday. So again, that recording is on our YouTube channel, and that will tell you exactly what you need to do to enroll in classes. What is the number of credits you should have taken for fall 23, spring 24 to be eligible for scholarship and internships for summer 24? First of all, continuing students don't apply for scholarships in all semesters, it's just fall. So by spring, if you're talking about fall 24 continuing student scholarships, you should have completed 12 credits by the end of spring 24. For internship, not really. You need to just complete 2 long semesters. If you're an international student, to pursue an internship, you need a 3.0 at least. Should have completed professional development. And if you're a domestic student, at least 12 credits needs to be completed before you start an internship. Would it be possible to inquire about the potential for admission or receive guidance in assessing my probability of admission if I were to submit an application for? Yeah, we can do that. If you send me an email, we can set up some time and look into your questions and maybe help you. So between myself or Sylvia, one of us will connect with you and answer your questions. Not a problem. Can you please share the course selection webinar link? Yes, and that will be there in the, I think that was already shared, but we'll just put it again, don't worry. Boomi, is there a difference between the structure for code and flex? Yes, so flex, as I said, can reel between $40,000 to $65,000 based on a lot of factors like number of credits you take and the scholarships, TA-ships, all that kind of stuff. A cohort has a fixed fee. It's about 55,000 for international students and 45 for domestic students. But again, if you're a domestic student and you are in the flex program, your fee is much lesser. You're around $36,000, $37,000 there. So that flexibility, the range, is something that you get with the flex program. But one of the major things is there are 10 tracks that flex offers. So in terms of the courses you can take, there is a big list of courses that you can take. All right, I did see a few questions come after what I considered the last one, so I'll just take those last few until OPME's question. When are the TA-ships offered in the first of the, so you can't be a TA in your very first semester. You can only start from the second, but you can apply in your first semester for a second semester's TA-ship. I answered the question about the average time for an application. It's about 2 to 4 weeks. Guest, thank you very much for that comment. How many days for an I-20 takes about 7 to 10 business days. Okay, and then one very last question. Do I need job experience to get an internship? Not really. We've got a lot of people who come in without any experience, but they still land an internship. It all depends on how the company's requirements are, and you go from there. Okay, that was all our questions. Not too bad. We just went 12 minutes over time, but we thank you for your patience for staying with us. And the recording will be on our YouTube channel. We'll send it as well. But thank you so much, guys. We appreciate your questions. We look forward to seeing you at UT Dallas. Now, I'm not speaking as a program director, but as an alum of this place. That was one of, in fact, the best decision for me to come to UT Dallas. And there are thousands of our alums who share the same emotion that this was their best decision. So don't worry, you will come to a great place. You'll get a good experience, and this will really pivot your lives for good. Not just you, but as I always say, education not only helps change an individual, but generations. So what you're doing is great work. On that note, have a great one, guys, and we will be in touch with you soon. Send us an email if you have follow-up questions, but we look forward to seeing you on campus. Have a good one.